and this is just for you two. So you guys both are fighting aggressive, forward charging opponents in your fights. Both your guys are. So we're going to work on countering those forward charging, hard charging opponents. Your guy is southpaw, right?
I have to look.
Yeah, I had to look too. But either way, you guys both have guys who are just coming hard and forward. So we're going to work on rockbacks first. So a lot of the problems we run into is we drop step when people come at us, but we do it on this straight line. So whenever I'm here, if I'm in this box, right, I'm going to drop step with my back foot towards this corner, here. And I'm not trying to jump backwards, like, I want to stay in range, but let him start coming forward, like the bull and the matador here. Bop. That way I can rock back and throw that 2-3 or that 2-7, right? I think I'm through.
I always forget the number.
Yeah.
S4.
Yeah.
I'm not a boxer.
Yeah. So we're here. He starts charging at me. I don't like any of that, right? Bop, bop, up. The basics of it is, guys, I want to pull him in while getting off his sight line. Because if I just drop step and try to stay in here, he's just going to step forward and we're going to be in the same fucking range we were in. So I have to get off that center line and gain that angle advantage here. Because right now, just this angle alone protects me. Because anything Dewey's going to throw, he has to either reach over his body with his right side, or he has an awkward over twist this way with his left side. And I'm going to be able to read either one of those. So either way, it gives me that defense of being able to drop step. So even if I just rock back and circle off, just to reset, it stops him from just being able to charge at me and me just be backing up the whole time. That was what the problem with Eli's fight was. He kept just backing himself into ropes and into corners. He was landing more effective strikes, but he was constantly on the back foot and constantly didn't retake the center point at any time, or didn't retake that center line at any point. So we're here, boom, I drop step, 2 uppercut, 2-3, 2 kick. I don't care combo-wise what we're throwing here. The goal of this is I start seeing him charging, bop, offline, go. Now, if it is opposite stance, so if Dewey's a dirty southpaw, because they're people apparently, you are quarter turning with your rock back. Bop. It's the same motion, it's just a little bit harder because it comes with that quarter turn. You're going to run into it as the southpaw in this if Dewey's ortho. It's here. I can't even fucking do it because you're not people.
It's so weird.
Dirty fucking southpaws, right?
Oh.
So, we're here. I'm still turn, rock. Bop, bop. Same concept. The biggest thing is I can't just back up. You ran into it in your fight. You ran into it in your last fight. People, when they blitz us, we get stuck in this I have to run backwards motion. We have to be able to, I don't care that your first step is straight back. After that, we got to pick a lane. You got to go somewhere else. Because if I just keep staying on this train tracks with him, bull rushing fighters, your fight, you got hit with 17 overhand rights because you just stayed in a fucking line with him.
It was 6, actually, if I counted.
Yeah, it felt like 17 from the corner.
It felt like it.
So you have to be able to cut those little angles. I'm not talking having to be able to be off at this weird 90 degree. I have to get somewhere in between 5 and 45 degrees off of him. Even just not being directly in front of him, just this half step here starts to be fuck with his angles. So when I get that rock back, bop, bop, that's what's going to allow you to start landing those off-tempo, hard shots.
Are you pivoting off the rock back?
So when I'm rocking back, it's at this 45. So I'm not drop stepping here, it's here.
Stepping in the direction of your leg.
Yeah, so the goal is, think of me and Dewey, we're both here. We both have train tracks on our feet, right? If I stay on the train tracks with Dewey, I'm in trouble here. Because it's a fair fight, and we don't fight people fair. If I'm here, that's enough angle for anything. Dewey now has to do that turn to turn into me. which that turn buys me that half a second. Bop. That's what allows you to take back that center and take back that momentum.
Okay, so if you hit it too, would you not rock back and go to the body? You would still rock back like right?
You
You go
can.
to the body?
You can go to the body. So like for me, if I'm going to rock back, bop, bop, there's 1,000, you can hit almost any strike off the rock back. I like rock back too because they're turning into it. So if we're same stance and I rock back here, he's got to turn. And that straight right lands every time off that. That's why I throw it. That's what Amos was doing when he kept dribbling that right hand. He kept dribbling it because he kept going bop, bop, bop. Because that kid just kept pushing in.
Expanding Mortal Kombat.
So that's what I'm looking for is I want him to, not only am I pulling him into my strike, I'm turning him into it. Because the second he starts to come back here and he turns in, I have the angle and the power. He's reaching over his front foot to get that right hand. Which is going to take a lot of sting off his and a lot of power. So when I'm here, bop, now I can come back in. And it doesn't have to be that. A lot of people will drop step and then uppercut. Bop, bop, bop. I don't more care about the combo as I do the rock step. Make sense? 1, 2, 3. Tom, I'm not a good striker. So I wrestle here. All right, so we're here. Next thing, guy starts pushing in, and that rock back just isn't working, right? So it's just, I'm not getting the angle off, I don't have enough room, whatever the reason is, right? We're going to do what's called a walk step. So this is more of a Thai technique. So all we're going to do is we're going to walk back. Because the goal is to walk back over your feet. You're not crossing them, but you're using that drop step to turn yourself. Bop, bop. Now, the nice part about this is the second that foot hits back into your normal stance, because it doesn't matter which stance you're in, you can hit this either side. If I'm here, it's bop, bop, bop. It's coming straight up and you're touching with it. I'm not trying to push, this is Sparta kick people, but I'm just trying to flip this into their chest. So I'm here, boom, I start to drop, bop. I want to be able to stay balanced, especially in MMA. You don't want to throw that big lumbering kick because you got to be able to stay balanced in case they catch the foot, and we will go into a wrestling world. So when I'm here and I drop, bop, I want to be able to stay in that half stance so that way I'm not, one, overextended, because the other thing you run into a lot of fights, especially later in rounds, it's slippery. So you're going to slip and slide, and so let's say I slip off that hip and I'm really driving into that. Where if I'm here, I can stay in that good stance that whole time. So we're here with the footwork, all we're doing, drop. Like I said, just looking, you don't get to charge at me for free. At no point is charging at me fun or free for you. Whether I'm here, bop, 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 doesn't matter. Either way, you're changing that angle with every step. Because when I'm here, this first drop step changes that angle that little bit. The second drop step really pulls them in. That's what gives me that line. Karate combat's been really fun to watch lately, guys, in case you didn't know. But that's a lot of what they're doing with this is that angle. It changes that angle that little bit. So same concept, I'm not going to hit the like karate chop bouncing, right? But when I'm here and I'm like, wah, I can hit that same type of idea of switch stancing, but with measured steps here. Bop, bop. If I start on this center line, I should end this almost not quite at that 90. Bop, bop. But you see how I'm able to travel and change that angle, which then pulls him into my striking.
Baits it. Yeah.
Now, the other nice part about this is, let's say you suck at striking. This is also a good point to wrestle. Is as you get them turning and running into you, that's a great point to wrestle as well if we need to. So I'm here, right? Bop, bop. Make sense? Especially if they're real heavy into pushing into you and you can't get that kick up. Takes a quick shot. Even I know both of you guys don't want to wrestle mostly in your fights. Take them down, let them go. I can do that to you. You have to know that. I can put you on your back at any point. Even if that's not my plan, knowing that makes you more tentative. It's part of the mental, the chess game that starts to happen at that point. Questions on this? Like I said, it's basic. Drop, drop. It's all in those turns.
Do you want anything to change for opposite stance at all? Or still doing?
Yeah, you're changing back into your stance. So for you, it's step back, step back, step. That back foot. See what I'm saying? Like, that's all it has to be. Even though you're a dirty southpaw. 1, 2, 3.